3 in the morning. You're sitting on the cold bathroom floor, door locked, crying quietly so she doesn't wake up on the other side of the wall. And that sentence keeps coming back. It's probably my fault again. What you don't know yet, sitting there on that cold floor, is that there's an exact word for what you've been living for months. And the moment you hear it, you won't be able to pretend you didn't know anymore. You tried to tell your best friend this last Tuesday, over a coffee that went cold while you never touched it. One sentence from her, a silence, a look that lasted 1 second too long. Counted one by one, out loud. Each of these details sounds almost ridiculous. But added up together, over entire months, they weigh a ton. And right now, you're the only one who feels that weight on your shoulders. Clinical psychologists call this exact mechanism narcissistic manipulation, and they've observed it in thousands of couples in offices all over the world. It almost always follows the same 5 stages, in the same order, like a recipe followed without ever realizing it. Nobody taught you this in school or in any book anyone ever recommended. So when it happens to you, you think you're the first, the only one, the one inventing drama where there is none. You're not the first or the only one, or the weakest. And if you recognize 3 of these 5 signs before this video ends, what you're living through has an exact name, a documented one, and it's not in your head. First sign. It started fast, very fast. By the 3rd week already, a message at 2 in the morning, a Sunday. I've never felt this with anyone before you. You're really different from everyone else. Then messages all day, without exception. A weekend already planned by the 2nd month. Words that sounded pulled straight from a novel. An intensity that swept you off your feet, and that you took, at the time, as proof of a rare and absolute love. Psychologists have a name for this manufactured, almost chemical intensity. Love bombing. An emotional dependency built before you'd even had time to really get to know her. And that's only the first of the 5 signs. Second sign.
Barely 6 months later, your Friday night with the guys, the one you never used to miss, became a constant source of arguments, a call to your mother, a source of tension every single time.
Not all at once. Never all at once. This never happens all at once. One comment here, one pointed sigh there. Until, without fully realizing it, you now see half the people you saw just a year ago. This woman never, not once, forbade you from going out. She just made every outing cost more emotionally, little by little, than simply staying home with her, in silence. 2 signs out of 5, maybe already recognized. How far does this go? The 3rd doesn't look like anything you'd normally imagine, and that's exactly why almost no one sees it coming. 3rd sign. The same woman who wrote you novel-length messages at 2 in the morning now tells you, looking you in the eye, calmly, that you exaggerate everything, that you're too sensitive, too intense. You never know, turning the key in the lock at night, which version of her is going to open that door. So without noticing, you walk on eggshells all the time, day after day. Psychologists call this devaluation, the instability that almost always follows, in that exact order, the intense idealization of the beginning, never a simple isolated accident. 4th sign, and this one you never see coming from the inside, until it's already settled in. You remember precisely what she said last night, word for word, down to the comma. She swears, arms crossed. She never said anything like that. At first you defend your version, word for word, with certainty. Then, exhausted one more night, you catch yourself genuinely wondering if you're the one making things up, distorting things, simply losing your footing. That doubt never comes from you. Deep down, it has a name too. Gaslighting, the art of making you doubt your own memory until you depend completely, for everything, on hers. One sign left, the fifth. And it's exactly the one that explains why, despite everything we've just described together, you still haven't left. Fifth sign. After a violent argument, an ordinary Tuesday night like any other, she disappears for 2 full days, unreachable. Then she comes back with flowers, apologies that seem perfect, and that same wild intensity from the very first message. You tell yourself, genuinely, that this time is different, that she's finally understood, that everything's going to change. 3 weeks later, day for day, the exact same cycle starts again, identical down to the smallest details. That exact cycle, that back and forth between rupture and reconciliation, is called trauma bonding. The more intense the cycle, the harder it becomes to break the bond it creates in your brain, almost like an addiction. Intense, immediate love from the first few weeks. Isolation that advances in silence, month after month. Instability that has you walking on eggshells all the time. Doubt planted about your own memory. A cycle of rupture and reconciliation that repeats, identical, again and again. If 3 of these 5 signs hit close to home, hold on to this one sentence, the only one that really matters. You never made any of it up. You were reacting, rightly, to something very real. Ask yourself this first. Why does this mechanism work so well, even on people who are intelligent, independent, financially self-sufficient, who never would have imagined themselves in this situation just 5 years ago? No personal weakness in this, ever. Just a matter of precise dosage. Each sign, taken on its own, seems manageable, explainable, almost perfectly normal in everyday life. Only when you look at all 5 signs together, exactly as we just did here, does the real, complete pattern finally appear clear, impossible to deny any longer. Recognizing these 5 signs doesn't mean in any way diagnosing someone from a distance or slapping a final, irreversible label on someone you might still genuinely love. Nobody's perfect, and normal tension exists in absolutely every relationship, no exceptions. The difference is something precise. It's not one isolated bad day, some random Tuesday, but the exact repetition of the entire cycle. Recognizing this is never about judging anyone in your place. It's about giving yourself back one single right, just one. The right to trust what you feel and what you remember precisely. Here's one concrete gesture, very simple, that you can start tonight, right now, if any of these 5 signs hit you harder than the others. And later I'll show you why this exact pattern might be repeating right now at work, or even in something from your childhood, without you ever having seen it that way. Write down, just for yourself, in a notebook or straight into your phone, the exact date and the precise words of a moment that marked you. not to accuse her someday in front of anyone, just for you, right now, in this moment. Over time, week after week, that notebook becomes concrete proof, in black and white, that your memory was never, at any point, the real problem. Second gesture, just as simple to put into practice. Talk about that exact moment, the one you just wrote down, with one trusted person outside the relationship this very week. Not so they decide anything in your place. Just so one honest outside perspective confirms what, deep down, you might have already known for a while. But first, here's what almost nobody says out loud. If any of these 5 signs felt strangely familiar, almost like déjà vu, maybe that's not a coincidence. This exact mechanism doesn't only affect romantic stories, far from it. It may have already slipped into another part of your life before, in a different form, without you clearly identifying it at the time. That same mechanism affects the employee whose boss alternates excessive praise on Monday morning with public humiliation on Thursday afternoon, never knowing, walking through the office door, what to expect. That same mechanism affects the adult who today still doubts their own childhood memories because of a parent who denied everything, systematically, every single time. Deep down, it doesn't matter what kind of bond connects them, romantic, family, or professional. Only that exact cycle counts, repeated, perfectly identifiable the moment you finally know how to name it. In this kind of relationship, you never lose your mind. What you lose, little by little, without noticing, is the right to trust yourself. And that exact right, always, at any moment, can be reclaimed. Next time the doubt returns, when you genuinely wonder if you're exaggerating, if you're making it all up, go back to these 5 signs, one by one, calmly. Never to judge anyone in your place. Just to remember that what you feel has an exact name, a real explanation, a reality verified by others before you. That clarity, the real one, doesn't depend on any apology she still owes you or any explanation she might someday get around to giving. That clarity depends on one single thing, just one. That you stop looking for the answer in her and finally find it, for good, inside yourself. Back to that bathroom, the same cold floor under your feet, that locked door, 3 a.m, just like at the start. But this time you know exactly what's happening, and you can finally name it precisely. That clarity, that alone, already changes absolutely everything. Hold on to this, just this. What you felt this whole time was fair, real, worth believing. This sentence belongs to you now, for good. Think of one real person, someone who already came to mind during this video, who's living through exactly this right now, without knowing how to name it. Send them this video now, before you keep scrolling. Which of these 5 signs did you live through without knowing its name until today? Love too fast, silent isolation, or the doubt they made you feel about your own memory? Answer with the number, even just that. On the Quiet Stronghold, we take apart a real mechanism like this every week.